Alright everyone, now that we've talked about ancient ethics, what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to introduce the notion of ethical relativism. Now, generally speaking, ethical relativism is the view that what is true morally is true relative to something that someone or something has said or affirms. Now, there are a couple different species of ethical relativism. There's ethical subjectivism, cultural relativism, and divine command. In this video, we'll take a brief look at the notion of ethical subjectivism. So what is it? According to this theory, people are never mistaken about what is morally wrong because there are no objective moral standards or truths. There are only opinions. And moral opinion is akin to taste. So there are no objective standards for moral preferences. So what that means is there is no right and wrong in some objective way. You can't look at something and say, that's right or that's wrong. Really, all we can say is, that's right to me. I think that's right. In my opinion, that's right. Or in my opinion, that's wrong. So something like murder is wrong is really, I think murder is wrong. I believe murder is wrong. I hold that murder is wrong. And for you, you might think it's perfectly fine. But everybody's moral view is just as acceptable. So it's not just the descriptive view that people have different views. That's obvious. You think this, I think that, some other people think this, some other individual thinks some other thing. It's not just that view that we disagree, that there's a plurality of views. It's the view that every individual view is correct to itself. And not just that every individual thinks it's correct to themselves, because most of us think that we're right. It's the view that everyone is right to themselves. Every subject. And a subject is basically a philosophical term for a conscious, sentient person, regardless of species. Something that's self-aware and has other features of being an intelligent life form. I think when most people think of the word relativism, this is probably what they're kind of thinking of, although they often mischaracterize it. Now, in a certain sense, even though in this video I'm talking about relativistic theories of ethics, in one sense, every moral theory is relative to something. So even people that claim there's an objective morality, there's an obvious right and wrong, whether it be something like the Decalogue or the Ten Commandments or the sayings of Jesus or the Hadith or Sharia Islamic law or the Upanishads or the Tao Te Ching or whatever it is. In every instance, saying, well, that's where objective morality is, means that then morality is relative to that thing. But when we talk about morality being relative in this sense, it's that it's relative to, again, some person or persons in a limited capacity to another particular group. So in here, the person that determines what is right and wrong is the individual, the subject, you. It's you for you, it's me for me, it's someone else for someone else. And then the audience that obeys those moral commandments, if you will, in this case, is the same subject. So I'm my own boss, you're your own boss, someone else is their own boss, and we each make our own little moralities. Now, ethical subjectivism is not the same thing as tolerance, saying people have different perspectives, let's let them all get along. It's not the claim that different views need to coexist. Neither is it the claim that every moral view is ignoratio elenchi, or an irrelevant conclusion, which is the idea that, well, that person, they just sincerely believe they're right. I don't agree with it, but to themselves, they just believe it with all their sincerity and with all their might. As though intensity of sincerity is some kind of virtue in and of itself. Neither is it the same thing as moral uncertainty, which is the view where we go, who knows what's right or wrong? Neither is it the descriptive claim that everybody has different views on what's right and wrong, or that there's a variance of opinion. It's not merely that there's a variance of opinion, it's that every person's opinion is correct. Neither is it the view of emotivism, which is the view that there is no moral truth at all out there. Nothing is real. There is no such thing as right and wrong. It's not that view. Subjectivism still says there is a right and wrong, but it's relative to each individual person. Not that there's no right and wrong whatsoever. Now, when it comes to matters of taste, like you have your opinions and I have mine. You might think that the best ice cream flavor is vanilla, and I might say it's chocolate. You and I might disagree on flavors of ice cream, but saying we believe murder is right, and you believe murder is wrong. It seems to be quite a different kind of disagreement from saying murder is right versus murder is wrong. And people can disagree on moral views. That's common. It could be about matters of sexuality, gender, reproduction, healthcare, rights to life, the right to kill, deception, governmental power, and so on. But subjectivism says, yeah, we disagree, but actually everybody is correct to themselves. This is not a particularly robust theory, and I think some people are attracted to it because they think it means, yeah, I'm right, you're right. Yeah, that's kind of true. But I think it ends up conflating description with prescription. That is, it ends up conflating the fact that we do disagree to saying that because we disagree, everybody is right to themselves. You're correct, whatever you do. The problem with this view is that means if there's any disagreement, there is no right answer. Now, I'm not saying in moral disagreement there's ever an easy answer, but I think we can nevertheless say when someone gets murdered in cold blood, that's wrong, and be confident in our view that it's morally wrong, without going into details about other moral theories. Whereas the subjectivist would have to say, if you believe that it's wrong, then it is wrong. And if you don't believe that it's wrong, then it is not wrong. And then you're making that true in an absolute way for the subject. It ends up being problematic in that if we have any kind of disagreement, we just have to go, yep, we disagree. Nothing we can do about it because everybody's correct to themselves. So that's it on ethical subjectivism, and this is a pretty short video because ethical subjectivism is not considered a very robust theory of ethics. There's really not too much on it because it's considered low tier when it comes to talking about ethical theory. In the next video, we'll look at one that's a little bit more robust called cultural relativism.